TLO, what's poppin'? We are on Twitch. We are not live. But you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK. Don't forget, if we do go live and you happen to miss it, twitch.com _LIT_ONE. You can fast forward, rewind, replay, do whatever you want with all the previously uploaded lives. Also, we got merch. Don't forget that. And we also got the Patreon, where we post things we can't post to YouTube. Don't forget that this is Lad Bible TV. This is how I survived my ex-wife's murder plot. See, this is the type of stuff that make you never want to love. You know what I'm saying? This is what I be saying, though. Like, people can say they love you. They can stand in front of God in God's house and recite vows that are in the Bible, or, you know what I'm saying? And then they can try to turn around and take you off earth. That's crazy. Let me hear it, my boy. And what's crazy is, let me hear it.
What was your upbringing like?
I was an academic child. I did what I was told. I was happy to work hard, trying to make the most of things. I think trying to make my parents proud of me. University was great. I really made the most of certainly of the first year. I took the opportunity to be a completely different person. Come the second year, that's when I met Victoria. Things started off really well.
When you first met Victoria, why were you drawn to her? What was she like?
She was bubbly, enthusiastic. She was really exciting. She represented somebody who was interesting and interested. She was very interested in me, and things started to get very intense very quickly. It was intense. It was a new relationship. We were in each other's pockets. As it went on and that continued, there's no let up. It didn't stop being that. By the end of the second year, it was that times 100.
You quit being boring.
So y'all was head over heels for each other, is what you telling me? I think we need the year that this stuff happened to put it in context.
It had moved from around each other all the time, 100. It had moved from being around each other all the time to being around each other with nobody else all the time. There were people who said to me, "Are you sure things are okay?" But it's very difficult for me, I think for men and young men in particular, to say, no, it's not okay. I don't like it. At the time, I didn't know what an abusive relationship looked like for me. I recognize now that that's what it was, in the way in which I was controlled, in the way in which I was manipulated. The term coercive control.
A lot of people be like, "Oh man, I'm not in an abusive relationship. Nobody ever laid their hands on me." But there's mentally abusive. There's manipulation. They abuse the what you'll do for them, like the love that you have and the undying will to please. Like, yeah, it's not just physical.
Didn't exist.
Coercive control.
Certainly not for me. I didn't.
A form of domestic abuse. Using assault, humiliation, or threats as a means to control another person's behavior, often isolating them from their friends and family. Oh yeah, that should be red flag. If you ever with somebody and they get to telling you like, "Oh man, don't even talk to them," like that's your family, but don't talk, like, that's it. That you should cut them off 100%. They shouldn't be telling you that.
Know what that was and whether or not, why that would even be applicable to me. The way in which things were created to be my opinion. I didn't have an opinion other than our opinion. I didn't make any decisions. It was very difficult and that's very difficult to explain, because when I met people, I was making decisions all the time, but those decisions were always couched with, well, what would Victoria prefer me to do? What does she want me to do? I stayed after university for another year while she finished her course, and we moved in to a separate house together, and that gave us a reason not to see anybody.
Sound like y'all was moving too fast. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing. There's nothing wrong with finding your true love in high school and college. I actually salute it because nowadays, because 2024 ain't nothing really out here, man. All you gonna do is run into OnlyFans girls. Like, find your love in high school, but take it slow. Don't get out there and jump off the cliff. Make sure, like, y'all could be lovey-dovey, but make sure once you done with this school stuff, you got to date like a little bit longer, like another year once y'all done, because that's when you really see who this person is. You seen who they was in college and things of that nature, but that really ain't the real them. You got to see them as a full-blown working adult. You know what I'm saying?
Almost. And I couldn't go anywhere without first making sure that she was happy for me to go, or for us both to go.
That's cap.
And that kind of total control was certainly something that became part and parcel of who I was and who we were as a couple.
So she was insisting that it would just be you two. It was all on her terms.
There was always a reason. There was always a justification. You know, if I loved her, then why do we need to go out? You know, what's the point? She was my life.
What? If I loved her, what was the point of going outside? I can love you and still want to be like. I can love you and still want to naturally want to be outside. Not outside in a weird way, just like I want to go outside, walk in the park, go to a bar, get a drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can go together, but if you love me, why do you need to go out? Is a crazy statement. I would never ever say that to nobody. Like, that's crazy.
She was my reason. And that's what she wanted. Every single step is a small step. Every single move is entirely reasonable. It's, you know, going to college, going to university, going to work, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you realize that's all you're doing. You're going to work.
Yeah. And that's right there as a man. That's why you don't. That's why I need to go outside, because I don't want to get stuck in a pattern. Even though I know life is like most of us live our lives that way. I just can't. That box is too strenuous for me. Go to work, come home, watch the kids, go to sleep, over and over again. We gotta go outside. We gotta go outside, and if you can't handle us going outside, and you can't handle me going outside, or you going, I can handle you going out with your girl, as long as your girls aren't degenerates. You know what I'm saying? And trying to break up a happy home. But I just expect you, as my loved one, to not put yourself in a predicament where you might want to be, you know what I'm saying, where you might want to cheat. Because I don't want to say all people don't cheat. All people do cheat. They have it in them to cheat. It's just, how much do you love your partner to not put yourself in that situation? Not how much do you love them. How loyal are you to them to not put yourself in a predicament where you might even think of, like, overly getting drunk, hanging around males or females, you know what I'm saying? Being alone in situations around male or female, getting too deep into conversations with, like, it's just levels. 2024, answering DMs, like, you wild.
And then coming home and not doing anything else. There is no social life. There is no reason to do anything or be anywhere other than with her. And so again, it was one of those small, incremental, logical steps. We were together, we were married, then we have kids. So I was 26 when my daughter was born, and all of a sudden,
You at 26? You look the same. What? You was already older looking, so now you look young.
you know, Victoria got pushed to second place.
She ain't like that.
And she didn't like that.
Oh my God, jealous of your daughter?
How long were you in this relationship with Victoria?
In total, so we met in 1999, and I separated after my daughter was about 1.5, so about 2007, middle of 2007, towards the end of 2007.
So once you decided
So
to
you was 27, 28.
leave the relationship, how did Victoria immediately respond?
For a short time, everything was okay. In the same way that everything was okay when we got together. It didn't last long, because I left and she was very angry about that.
From what it sounded like, she didn't give you no choice but to leave. You was a prisoner in her heart.
And she perhaps wanted to exact some level of punishment, some level of re-establish some level of control. Things started to ramp up. I started getting requests which
Heavy narcissist.
were more and more extreme. I would be asked to travel 2 hours on the drop of a hat in order to see my daughter for a day and then bring her back. Or plans would change halfway through that and say, well, now she's no longer there, she's here. I would be shut out from various decisions. I had to make a decision that I had to put everything else second and put my daughter first. And that's what I did. That's the point at which everything started to go wrong. Victoria was remarried. Her husband, she had told him that I had hurt her. She had let him know in no uncertain terms how dangerous I was. I think what he did next was naive and a shame. He attacked my car and set fire to my car and set fire to my house. And so what he did was wrong. And what he did put my life and the life of my family in danger.
Your ex-wife is wild. But that's manipulation, and she carries that from relation to relationship. Somebody just wants to, and he wanted to just be a hero. He wanted to save her. He wanted to make amends. Like he handled it very like weird, but like that's natural to want to protect a woman. But like that happened in the past. Like it won't happen again for sure. Like if I'm with a girl and her previous person was doing this and that to her, I guarantee you it will not happen again. I can put the right hand up to God, it won't happen again, but that was in the past. I'm not going to go hunt this man down. You made the right decision by leaving him. So now let's figure out if you're mentally capable of going on with what we got going on, or are you still carrying that baggage very heavily? Because you can forgive, not forgive, but like you can still keep that thought in your mind, but how apparent is it in your mind? You know what I'm saying? Do we need to go get counseling? Do we need to go talk to somebody? Because I'm going to stand by you by it, but we need to go get it. We need to go talk about it if that's what you need to talk about. Because you're not gonna make me go jump off the deep end for some stuff that happened in the past, even though it's big stuff, and I love you, quote unquote, and I'm loyal to you. But you know, you gotta handle that mentally.
Yeah. But the way,
and I'll be by your side while you do it.
the decision that got him to that place was exactly the same decision process that she had perfected on me.
I'm too grown for
And
that.
with Wayne, he attacked your house. How did he get caught for that, and how come she didn't end up in prison for that?
They were both arrested. She was released without charge. She wasn't there. She couldn't be placed. And, of course, the other thing is that Wayne never described that she was connected in any way. He denied even doing it himself. He was convicted of it, but he pled not guilty, and as a result, the police didn't and couldn't connect Victoria to it. There was several pieces of evidence that connected Wayne, not least a recording, a 999 recording, that connected him to the case.
Following the attack of Rob's house car, Victoria tried to convince the other man to... Wow.
So she tried to persuade a series of men to murder you, essentially. Like, what was her rationale, and how was she persuading them?
The
I
modus
feel like I've
operandi
seen like a movie about this.
was the same. To paint me as a person, as a terrible human being, as worthy of punishment, as worthy of being...
There's a movie or a show out like this, isn't there? Where she kept getting with... She would get with a man, and she would try to get him to do things to her previous man until she got with a new man, and then the same thing over and over again.
Dealt with. Victoria was able to move and manipulate relationships and conversations and friendships incredibly easily, depending on the type of people that she spoke to, varying degrees of success. Thankfully, for me, some of these guys, of course, said that they didn't want to have any part of it, and some were more open to the suggestion. Once these guys had said no, then she moved on and found somebody else who she thought might be willing to do it. And that's how we moved on through. In the end, it was five guys that I am aware of.
It's probably 55. Oh my God, this is her? The police approached Rob after discovering a 24-minute recording of a conversation between Victoria and their former... The pair discussed a possible way to rob, including smashing a brick across his or him to... Dang.
The way in which Victoria was recorded by talking to somebody who, by all accounts, seemed to be far more professional, certainly purported to be more professional than any of the other guys that she had spoken to. Prices were discussed, methods were discussed. That recording was then put to trial.
Yeah, that's enough right there. You might get you're going to get a tough sentence for that. Conspiracy to unalive?
She...
Don't that carry a life sentence?
Pleaded not guilty. She said that it was a joke. She said that it was a way in which to let off steam against an old ex.
Yeah, no
And
way.
in abusive relationships, which I now recognise mine was, it's always the pattern. That gives it away. And her pattern was this. It wasn't one joke. It wasn't one thing. It was the sustained series of actions, the
Why would they record it though?
series of intentions that took us to a point where she had £18,000 in baby milk tins wrapped up in duct tape, hidden in her house. Ready
For what?
for what?
Right.
Ready for this guy to put a
And
brick across the back of my head.
And skip town?
That's when it got really scary. The trial was 2 weeks of very difficult events. I was expecting to be called to give evidence, but I wasn't.
No need.
I was really surprised
That was enough.
actually the defense took my statement and just agreed. Finally, at last, someone believed me. Someone could stand up and say, yes, that happened. And it happened to you. That was an incredibly fulfilling feeling. It meant probably more than almost anything else. Okay, I was an extreme example, but I wasn't the only example. There are lots of aspects of my story that are applicable to lots of different men, women, reaching those people, reaching those
You'd be surprised at how common stuff like this is. It's
guys,
wow.
reaching the guys who don't think that they're in that kind of difficult relationship. Recognition that it is a problem is one step. It's difficult to ask for help, and finding someone who you trust to ask for help. But there are more and more people out there, connections, that can help. Talk to anyone. Talk to the people at the bus stop. Talk to friends, family, anybody. But talk to somebody.
Facts. In 2020, Victoria was found guilty of 3 counts of conspiracy to in jail for 9.5 years. Conspiracy to murder in jail for 3 counts of it. She was labeled the Black Widow by the
How
media.
do you feel towards Victoria now?
I feel
He definitely got his kids though, right? Or his child. He got custody of her now.
that she has wasted so much opportunity. I'm not going to give her the control and the power.
That's a mature response. This man is mature. He said she's wasted so much opportunity. Like, I did not think that was what was about to be said.
To keep on affecting me and our life in the way that she was for a very long time. We have made a beautiful young lady who is looking at the rest of her life with anticipation, with excitement. And it is a wasted opportunity, a shame that she has missed that. And that is something that she has to live with. That's her life sentence.
That's crazy. I wonder how the daughter's upbringing was under the roof of the mom. I wonder how she treated the daughter. Curious. TLO, leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post. That's interesting. If you're going through any of this type of stuff, man, go ahead. Get help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Save your life and maybe somebody else's. Gone.